Welcome back to the Savage Nation. In the first hour, we talked with Donald Trump. We talked about Mitt Romney, who was a friend of his, and we talked about him telling Mitt Romney that he can't win unless he comes on the Savage Nation and addresses the listeners of the show. I absolutely believe that. I'm not saying it for hype. It wouldn't change my career one way or the other. I'll survive, God willing, whether he comes on the show or not. He will not win unless he gets the base of the conservative movement to vote for him. And if he's going to continue to be middle of the road, moderate, John McCain-like, he's not winning. Donald Trump said he would speak with Romney and try to get him on the show, and I hope he does. Advice to the next president from trickle-down tyranny, one line. Economies can be rebuilt, armies can be repopulated, but once a nation's pride is gone, it can almost never be restored. The loss of a nation's honor is something not even centuries can repair. If you feel a visceral reaction to what I just read to you, you know I'm right, and you know that there's no one saying it but me. But I'm not running for office. That's the problem. Who is running for office? A milquetoast Republican and others. And if Mr. Milquetoast doesn't get out of his own way and become more like... He has to become more like extremism in a defense of liberty is no vice, and a little less like McCain. Let's put it to you that way. He's got to go more towards that direction. Results are appearing. Gingrich has won Georgia, according to Drudge. Romney wins Virginia. Big margin in Virginia. Gingrich, unfortunately, won his home state. And I say unfortunately because I wish that he would just leave the race already and go make money the way he knows how to make it on K Street and stay away from Main Street. You know, I think he's been, I would say something that, no, I won't say it about, it has a K in it. But anyway, Gingrich wins Georgia in first of 10 state votes. Republican primary in the home state of Georgia. Mitt Romney's ahead in Virginia and Vermont as voters across 10 states choose a GOP candidate for president in Super Tuesday balloting. Romney and Rick the Condom Santorum are waging a fierce fight to win Ohio. As I say, if Santorum loses everywhere tonight, which I hope he does, he could take a consolation prize if Romney were to be gracious enough to offer him a new department, the Department of Prophylaxis, for him to be in charge of. No, Santorum would be perfect to run a Department of Prophylaxis. Think about that. I mean, think of all of the hygienic things he can talk about. 1-800-449-8255, michaelsavage.com. Do you agree or disagree with me that Romney has to get more visceral? Do you agree or disagree with me that Romney has to become more extremist? Do you agree or disagree with me that Romney's not going to win if he maintains this middle of the road? Do you agree or disagree when you hear the next soundbite that Romney's on the wrong track? Listen to 4. Listen, 4. Listen.
I'm not going to say outrageous things about the president or about my opponents. It gets headlines and a lot of excitement, and it gets you, by the way, a number of days in the polls to get a nice little bump. But I want to talk about the real issues Americans face and talk with respect about people who have differing views. I'm not going to attack them personally. I mean, I know that's fun, but it's just not productive.
Oh, gosh. See, this is the problem. He is being attacked personally. And if he is going to play turn the other cheek, he loses. He's got to understand it's a dirty world of politics, and we're dealing with one of the most dangerous administrations in American history, who certainly don't play by the rules that Romney seems to be wanting to play by. You hear what I just said? He can't play turn the other cheek. He cannot maintain this position of being a missionary. Let's put it this way. Romney cannot win the presidency by maintaining the missionary position. Okay? Does that strike a note with you? By maintaining the missionary position from now through the election, he's going to lose. He must maintain a much more aggressive position than the missionary position in order to beat Obama. Now, that's as good as Mark Twain, but Mark Twain is long gone, but now you have Michael Savage. I think that's brilliant, but all right, what? There's no live audience. You should be screaming with laughter, but no one, I'm sitting here alone in a room. My dog is even at the groomer today. He's not even here to laugh. Well, he sleeps during the show. I think that was very funny, Bill. Was that good or no? Was that one of my best? That Romney cannot win the presidency if he maintains the missionary position. The only way he can win the presidency is to stop, to choose another position other than the missionary position from now until the campaign is over. It's 100% true, but it's very funny, actually. That should be quoted from here to England. But there's no wit left in the media. It's a witless media. They don't even understand sarcasm, satire. I tried to explain this to the world when I won the Freedom of Speech Award. Soon thereafter, I was banned from Britain, since they don't understand freedom of speech in England. They live in a kind of a black world right now, a world of darkness. They've descended into a world of socialist darkness in England. Just as Winston Churchill warned them what would happen if they chose socialism. Make no mistake about it, they have a socialist government in England with a few clowns pretending to be conservatives in a split government. They're living in a dark socialist labor government where everyone is sort of an unbrave new world, with cameras everywhere, the police listening to them, afraid to speak out. Unbelievable to me what England has become, once one of the greatest countries on earth. A beacon of freedom. Look what it's become, and we're not too far behind. That's the problem. Unless Romney is willing to say these things, and unless he's willing to abandon the missionary posture of turning the other cheek, he cannot win. People are not going to vote for a nice guy. They want a viscerally strong leader. Doesn't mean he has to be Mussolini. He doesn't have to get evil and nasty. He doesn't have to get insulting. He can do it without doing any of those things. All he's got to do is talk about the corruption and graft and greed and incompetence, as I do in Trickle-Down Tyranny. He ought to get a copy of the book, and he ought to have someone read it and do the bullet points for him. Because I knew when the book would come out, so what did I write for Chapter 1? Advice to the next president, a savage worldview. The next president must be the exact opposite of Barack Obama. He must be a man of high character and strong commitment to American values, because he'll be facing problems and issues that no U.S. leader has had to face since the years leading up to World War II. Did you hear what I just said? He must be a man of high character and strong commitment to American values. See, Mitt Romney is that man, incidentally. Obama is the opposite of that. And I say, well, why do I say a thing like that? Mitt Romney would say, oh, come on, he just has a differing worldview than I. Well, if that's all you're going to say, Mitt, and if you keep maintaining that missionary posture, you're going to lose. Let me repeat. I'll give you 3 bullet points, Mr. Romney. Advice to the next president. Obama's economic policies have caused such an enormous rise in the price of the necessities of life that his administration has removed energy and food prices from its financial analysis in order to avoid telling the American people just how bad inflation is. Listen, if you got this book and you remembered only that one paragraph, you could swing the election. If you said that to the middle of the roaders who don't really know which way they're going to go, if you told them that Obama has so rigged the data that he has excluded food and energy prices from its financial analysis in order to avoid telling American people just how bad inflation is, that would win the election for Romney. But you see, what you have to do is read it first. Point 2. The U.S. Navy has the lowest number of warships since World War I. Now, I heard Romney say that about 3 weeks ago. I was quite surprised. I don't know if he got it from the advanced copy of the manuscript or we both got it from the same sources. But in 1918, our Navy was comprised of 774 ships. Today, it's down to fewer than 300. This is while China is building up its Navy and its space capacities. All right, let's go to the callers. Kennewick, Washington. Scott, you're the first up. Go ahead. You're on the Savage Nation.
Dr. Savage, I just about drove off the road when you made the comment about a country losing its pride. I've been telling my conservative friends that for a long time. We can rebuild an economy. We can get the country back on track, but we are breaking our moral fiber. Even my conservative friends are on the dole. You know, they talk about their kids being on food stamps and getting babies born under Medicaid. And they say, you know what, our leaders are corrupt. I'm going to get mine. We almost can't reclaim ourselves at this point.
Well, why are no candidates saying what I said? Economies can be rebuilt, armies can be repopulated, but once a nation's pride is gone, it can almost never be restored. That line is a classic. It should resonate like Paul Revere's line, "The British are coming," around America. Do you know that? That single line from Trickle-Down Tyranny is worth repeating around and around the clock.
Well, the reason why they can't is because it will hit too many people hard. The truth is hard to take when you know you're wrong. And when hold it now, though. I am not blaming the people for a loss of the nation's pride. I am blaming the politicians, most especially the socialist Democrat politicians. Well, I think it starts there, but truly, as I said, I have I'm conservative. I have a lot of conservative friends, and I'm amazed at how many of them, when you really start talking about it, talk about their young adult children. They're on food stamps. Their young adult children are having kids paid for by the government. They don't see, in their mind, it's like, well, if it's out there, I'm just going to take it. I'm going to go ahead and take it. Why not? And I think that starts at the top when we see our representatives. Well,
Obama is the food stamp president. He encourages this. That's my point. The leader could discourage this kind of dependency. He is encouraging it. because he wants a dependent electorate, Scott. Do you understand where I'm coming from?
Absolutely. But if I can use myself as an example, about 8 years ago, I'm self-employed. About 8 years ago, we ran into about a 2-year run where we were well below the poverty line. We could have taken food stamps. We could have gotten welfare. We could have gotten anything the government would have doled out. The only thing we took was we let our kids get free lunch at school. That was it.
Okay, and where are you today?
Right now, I'm out of debt. I've got my house almost paid off.
And that's because you refuse to become a victim. You refuse to become dependent upon the government. And what you said was, I'm going to make it back from the bottom. That's what you did.
Absolutely. In fact, I could.
Well, I'm going to send you a free copy of Trickle Down Tyranny. Stay on the line. That's exactly how my ancestors, that's how my parents saw it. They came from a generation of very poor people. They were all immigrants. None of them would take welfare. They would rather starve to death. They'd rather eat a potato for dinner than take a handout. It was called home relief in New York. I was told. I said to my father once when he was living, God rest his soul, I said, was there welfare in your time? He said there was home relief, but nobody we knew would take it. He said they would rather throw themselves off a fire escape in the Bronx than take home relief. I said, why? Why, he said? Because they didn't want to be a loser and a bum. That's why. They did whatever they had to do. They worked 3 jobs. They didn't sleep at night, and they pulled themselves out of poverty. That's why. That's how they were raised. Then, of course, when they left the Bronx, which was never really pretty, even at that time where we lived, and we moved out to Queens, I don't go into the whole family thing, suddenly a new wave of individuals moved into those tenements and trashed them. They were all 99% taking government handouts. And when the government check and the government cheese didn't arrive on time, they burned their mattresses and threw them out of the windows down onto the street because they want the government handout and the government cheese. See, a little difference in the world I grew up in and the world now of Obama. I'll be right back.
Savvy.